I'm Mitch, the lead technician at Kineta's Collision Service, and today I'm going to show you how to change tires, how to measure tires, and also how to read your tire size and the information on a tire sidewall. So here, the first series of numbers that you're going to find, you're going to see a slash and some lettering on the sidewall. This is a 235 45 R18 tire and a 94 V rating. Now what this tells you is this tire is 235 millimeters wide. It is 45 millimeters tall on the sidewall. It is an R-rated tire, and it is 18 inches in diameter. So we have an 18-inch wheel. It's 235 wide, and it's got a 45 sidewall. The next numbers you're going to see is 94 V. That just tells you what kind of load rating the tire has, how strong the sidewall is, and also what the speed rating of the tire is. That's that V letter. So how fast you're able to go safely on this set of tires, whether it be in a performance application or something more performance oriented. So this is a tread depth gauge. This is how we measure tires for New York State inspection and also to see what kind of tread wear we have on the tire. This measures in millimeters and also 30 seconds of an inch. The New York State standard for tires to pass-fail New York State inspection is 30 seconds of an inch. If you don't have a tread depth gauge and you're working at home, you can use any copper penny, that's US currency. And if you stick the penny in the tread, you should be able to cover the top of Lincoln's head. And that's roughly 30 seconds of an inch. In our case, we have the gauge, so we're going to measure, and we have 30 seconds of tread on this tire. So this tire is still nice and healthy. We don't have any abnormal wear on it, but we are changing these tires for a winter-specific tire, and these are going to be stored for the summertime. I'm going to show you some common areas with tire leaks. When a customer comes in with a TPMS light on or a low tire indicated on the dash, common areas for them to leak are in the valve stem, whether it be in the valve body itself or where the stem seats to the wheel. It can also leak from the bead where the tire seats to the wheel, or there can be an obstruction in the tire, be it a nail, debris, piece of metal, any slits in the sidewall or anything of that nature. So we test these very differently. We tend to spray the stems with soapy water. If you see any bubbles come out, you can do this as well at home. If you see any bubbles come out, that indicates the air is leaking. You can spray the sidewall or check for any obstructions in the tire. We also have a dunk tank that we fill with water, and we'll put the entire wheel and tire assembly in there, usually valve stem down. And if there's any leaks coming from the tire or wheel or the valve stem, you'll see small bubbles of air start to come up in the water tank, and that's how we start to track down tire leaks. So we've got the vehicle jacked up. We're going to start to remove the wheel and tire assemblies. And what we have here is an electric impact. We're going to remove the lug nuts and remove the wheel and tire assembly to change the tire. Go. So when we prep wheels and tires for tire removal, the first thing you want to do is remove the valve stem cap, remove the valve stem core, and evacuate all of the air out of the tires. Then we're going to pull the center caps, and we're going to pull any remaining wheel weights that are on the wheels just to get all the wheels in a neutral position to set them up for tire changing. So here we have our stem extraction tool, which pulls the valve stem core out of the valve stem to drain the air out of the tire. So this is our tire changing machine. Now, it has some various levers on it that do various functions to help change tires. First one we're going to do when we put the wheels up is the claw. This grabs the wheel so that the wheel is secured to the machine so we can pull the tires off. Next, we're going to pull down our changing arm, which comes down from here, and adjust the changing arm to the width and diameter and the specs of this wheel. From there, we have to stay conscious of our tire pressure sensor. So we have to make sure that our valve stem is in certain locations as we change the tire. When the tire is first coming off, you want it under the cusp here because you want the tire to leave that area first so that we don't damage the TPMS sensor. Again, on the second round, we're going to leave the valve stem under the cusp. Get our lever. And pull the tire over. Once the tire is removed from the wheel, we raise our lever arm. And the tire is safely removed from the wheel. So when we were talking about common areas for a tire to leak, one of the most common areas, particularly in central New York, is the bead area. On aluminum wheels where the tire meets the wheel, we like to get some corrosion in here. A lot of it is from the different temperatures that we have. We get very hot in the summer, very cold in the winter, and also the road salt. What happens is we start to get some corrosion here, and it pushes the tire seal away from the wheel. So whenever we have the wheels off, we always like to go through with anything abrasive, even a red scuff pad, and just clean any of the old sealer or any debris that could be on this bead seating area before we seal the new tires. So here we have our rubberized bead sealer. What we do is we apply this to the bead area of the wheel, and this is a compound that helps seal the wheel to the rubber tire compound. So in this case, these winter tires that we're mounting are rotational, meaning that the actual V pattern of the tread is side specific. They have to rotate in a certain direction, basically the way that the arrow is pointing. So anytime you see a V shape in a tire, make sure you read the tire sidewall. In this case, it tells us that the rotation here is to the left. If you flip it around, then the rotation is going to be to the right. Just to make sure that all the wheels and tires, when they're mounted, are facing in a forward direction to help the V pattern cut through the rain and the snow. Now when we're mounting the new tire, it's important to keep our valve stem anywhere in the 4 to 6 o'clock range. That allows, as the tire spins around, you'll see here in a second, that allows the tire to skip over the area so we don't damage the TPMS system. And we back rotate it again. Roughly a 6 o'clock position. Use our lever arm and let the machine do the work for us. Lift our lever arm, and now the tire is installed to the wheel. What we do from this point is we fill the valve stem with air and allow the tire to bead and seal on the rim. we've got our wheels and tires mounted as an assembly, we're going to put them on the wheel balancer. In our circumstance, we're going to use a lug-centric wheel adapter tool to tighten the wheel down on the balancer. We'll spin them out and get the wheels perfectly in balance. Once everything is secured on the tire balancer, go ahead and close the lid. It's going to spin the wheel and measure it for high and low points. And it's going to ask for weight in particular areas to adjust to get the wheel perfectly in balance when it's in a rotating motion. As you can see here, this gives us our weight readouts in ounces, in fractional ounces. Once the wheel comes up 0, that means that it doesn't call for any additional weight to balance the wheel, and this wheel is perfectly balanced. Once we have the wheel and tire assembly balanced, we can go ahead and use our lug nuts, bolt it back onto the wheel box. So we start our lug nuts by hand to prevent them from stripping or cross-threading. And then we torque them to the OEM torque spec using a torque wrench. We have the wheels and tires mounted back onto the hubs of the vehicle. We're going to torque the lug nuts using a torque wrench to the OEM specification. Socket on the lug nut, slowly rotate, you'll hear a click, and an additional second click, and that's how we know that each lug nut is torqued all the way around the vehicle. So now that we have the wheels torqued, that concludes the job of changing the tires out on this 2013 Ford Fusion.
Good afternoon, this is Rob Canetta from Canetta's Collision Service. I hope you enjoyed our video and I hope it was informative. Stay tuned for some additional videos down the road. Thank you.